What's up, ladies and gentlemen? My name is Scyushi, and this is going to be a very quick video. If you didn't already catch my Trove community post, my community post on my YouTube community tab, we finally have all of the versions of Trove caught up, or at least seemingly so. I'm not sure if, okay, the event is actually here. So we're chilling on the Nintendo Switch today, because the Switch just today finally got the Paragon update. And it turns out that 2 weeks ago, the PlayStation got the Paragon update. And then last week, the Xbox got the Paragon update. And I'm sorry I didn't have like a video specifically talking about those versions getting the update. But now that the Switch has it, this means that all of the versions of Trove have the Paragon update. So if you've been sitting there and hankering to end up playing, well, now you can. Now there is as good a reason as ever to end up getting involved with Trove, because the Paragon update is pretty darn cool. Now, those of you that already know everything about the Paragon update, you can already move on and just go have fun. But I did want to kind of address a couple things just in regards to the Paragon update, kind of a quick summary, I guess, of what the update is going to end up being. And more specifically, what the most recent update on the Nintendo Switch ended up doing, because not only did it end up giving the Paragon update, it also ended up giving the Lunar Lancer Rework, which I've already got plenty of videos that talk about the Lunar Lancer Rework, but let me tell you, Lunar Lancer Rework is insane and is just a lot of fun. It's probably one of my favorite classes in Trove right now. And of course, after I end up uploading this video to you guys, I'm going to end up doing an actual live stream of doing the new Snowfest event, and I'll have a video talking about the Snowfest event come out tomorrow, while the live stream will probably end up taking a couple days before I publish it. But anyways, let's get into the Paragon update. So right down here is going to end up being a new section where there's all sorts of new crafting tables and junk, which you can actually craft all of these. If you go to the Paragon workbench and go to the Paragon recipes, you can craft all of the tables that you see here so that you can end up putting them in your cornerstone and in your club world and so on and so forth. But they're all going to end up costing a new resource, which is the Trovian loop, which is a little bit janky, but Trovian loops, sorry, it's a little bit jank to see the recipe, I mean. Trovian loops are basically going to end up being earned for every Paragon level. Now, what is a Paragon level? So when you get a character to level 30, that's normally when the game ends, right? Because then you're maxed out on your character level or your class level. So once you get to class level 30, which is the current max level in the game, then you start gaining more experience for Paragon levels. And Paragon levels are always going to end up being 2.5 or 2.9 million XP per level, no matter which level. It doesn't slowly scale and get harder and harder to do, all right? So as you end up gaining Paragon levels, basically you don't end up getting any stats. Most games, a Paragon level will just slowly build up your character. What Trove does is quite literally, it just gives you resources. That's it. So you're going to end up getting the Trovian loop, which is earned for every Paragon level, which is a crafting component so that you can not only end up crafting all of these tables and so on, but there's also going to end up being Paragon cubes. So these are going to end up being an item that you can basically exchange your Trovian loops in order to get primal loops. And primal loops we'll talk about in a minute, because I just wanted to mention that this Prime Paragon Cube is cheaper than the other one, but you can only buy a limited amount of these per week. So just keep in mind that you're gonna, sorry, Jub's going crazy. You're gonna have to grind a lot of Trovian loops or Paragon levels in order to end up crafting these, just because it's quite expensive. Because, I mean, I don't think you get just one Trovian loop per level, but you don't get as much as you would think. So then there's also going to end up being the Paragon Collectibles. So this is going to not only require Trovian loops, but it's also going to end up requiring the Paragon Mark, which, can I actually look at that? Is there a way that I can look at it? I'm not exactly sure how, sorry guys. So a Paragon Mark is earned from Paragon Pinatas. Now, Paragon Pinatas are earned from either just buying them out of the cash shop, or you'll also end up earning them from Prime Paragon levels. Prime Paragon levels will not only give you the pinatas, which you can throw down and then hopefully get lucky enough to get the mark item, which is all tradable, by the way. But a Prime Paragon level will also end up giving you a primal loop for that specific class. So if I get my Lunar Lancer to a Prime Paragon level, that means I'm going to get a primal loop Lunar Lancer. Like it's a resource specifically tied to this character. And the reason for that is because there's going to end up being crystal rings, and crystal ring boxes specifically will end up costing various Paragon items, but they'll also very specifically cost a primal loop of that specific class. And the reason for this is because crystal rings basically on top of having really high stat values, they completely make stellar rings obsolete. On top of that, they also will have hidden effects, and the hidden abilities will be tied to the specific character. So just as an idea, you could say level up your boomeranger enough that you get a prime loop for a boomeranger, and then you craft a crystal ring specifically set up for the boomeranger, but you could use that crystal ring on any class. The only reason why it's specifically a boomeranger crystal ring is because of the hidden effect. The hidden effect would only affect the boomeranger, because each of these different rings is basically going to end up having specific hidden effects which will augment certain class abilities. And the way that you end up augmenting a gem is basically a ring polisher. So you polish a ring in the ring polisher for again the prime Paragon loop of that specific class's ring. So if you have a boomeranger ring and you want to polish it, you have to spend a primal boomeranger level or whatever. And then once you end up polishing it, it's a temporary buff. But I've already got other videos that go into more detail with it. This was just to give you guys a quick rounding of this is what's going on in Trove right now. So for those on Switch and just on console in general, you guys might want to get involved with the Lunar Lancer. It's hella fun, super duper fast class. But generally speaking, the Paragon update is going to be the big thing, even though technically it doesn't really make as much of a difference as far as the game is concerned, just because you basically just have crystal rings which just end up making your characters stronger, but you're still just doing farming. However, the point is that crystal rings, or more specifically the boxes that you craft for crystal rings, are tradable. A lot of items related to this update are tradable, which means the economy in game is booming and you can capitalize on it. And on top of all of that, it should stay desirable, because as you go further and further into the ring crafting bench, there's boxes that will slowly guarantee you higher quality crystal rings, because crystal rings can go from C1 to C4, but good luck with that. So those of you that end up pulling a C4 ring out of your first crystal ring box, or even just your early crystal ring box, let me know in the comments, just because it's really exciting. And I'm gonna let you know that you just hit the jackpot, because crystal rings are really, really difficult to get C4. That's why later on it becomes more and more expensive, and so on and so forth. One quick thing I want to mention, just because I do have this in my crystal ring tutorial video, but you'll notice that the higher quality rings will cost ring crafters tickets. How do you get a ring crafters tickets? By literally loot collecting crystal rings. So there's a ring crafter ticket for loot collecting you know, earlier crystal rings, and then there's going to end up being a gilded ring crafter's ticket where you have to loot collect higher tiered crystal rings. But basically it slowly gets you to these higher tiered boxes, which increases your odds of getting crystal 4 rings. That's why if you get a C4 ring out of your first initial boxes, it's a lot better. Generally speaking, from what I've seen on PC, it is more cost effective to sell the C1 boxes for the rings than it is to sell the higher tiered ones, because even though the higher tiered ones guarantee you a better ring, they generally just don't sell as well in the market, which kind of makes sense, because if you're going for that higher tiered crystal ring, you know, it's very expensive to end up actually crafting those boxes. So I guess that's a reason a lot of people don't really have that many of them, and so their prices just isn't really as high as it, I don't know, it should be a lot higher, but it's just weird that it isn't. But anyways, I digress. I just wanted to get this point across and let you guys know a quick summary of the update, so that you kind of know what's going on, and you know, so you don't gotta siphon through tons of my other videos. But I do have more in-depth videos talking about the crystal rings and the hidden effects and so on and so forth. So if you guys want to check those out, there's links in the description. Otherwise, have fun with the Paragon update, because it is beautiful. And have yourselves a fantastic day.